Before Hollywood, before millions of dollars, before the fame, Paul Hogan was just an ordinary worker in Australia. No acting school, no connections, no glamorous beginning. For years, nobody outside his neighbourhood even knew his name. And then, somehow, he became one of the biggest stars on the planet. But fame came late, and when success finally arrived, it changed everything. When people imagine Hollywood stars, they usually picture someone young, ambitious, and chasing fame from the beginning. Paul Hogan was the complete opposite. He wasn't raised in luxury. He didn't grow up dreaming about red carpets. In fact, for most of his early life, he seemed like the last person who would ever become famous. Before the world knew him, he worked physical jobs, construction, manual labour, hard work under the Australian sun. He looked more like someone you'd meet at a local bar than someone destined for Hollywood. And maybe that's exactly why people loved him later. He didn't feel manufactured, he felt real. Paul Hogan spent years living a simple life. He married young, started a family, worked regular jobs. Nothing about his story suggested superstardom. But he had something unusual, charisma. Not polished Hollywood charisma, something rougher, more natural. People enjoyed listening to him. He was funny without trying too hard, confident without pretending. And eventually, that personality started opening doors.
His path into entertainment happened almost by accident. At one point, he appeared on Australian television, and audiences immediately noticed him. Not because he looked like a movie star, but because he didn't. He stood out precisely because he seemed authentic. While many television personalities felt rehearsed, Paul Hogan felt like a regular guy speaking honestly, and in a strange way, that became revolutionary. Soon, he had his own comedy show. Australians loved him, but nobody imagined what would happen next. Then came the idea that would transform his life forever, a film called Crocodile Dundee. At first, the concept sounded risky. An Australian outdoorsman travelling to New York? Hollywood wasn't exactly convinced, but Paul Hogan believed in it, and more importantly, he understood something others didn't. The character worked because it reflected part of who he really was. Relaxed, funny, confident, unpretentious. Audiences could feel it. When Crocodile Dundee was released, something incredible happened. The movie exploded worldwide. America loved it, Europe loved it, almost everyone loved it. Suddenly, Paul Hogan wasn't just famous in Australia, he became an international superstar. And the timing made the story even more unbelievable. He was already 46 years old. Most actors dream of success in their 20s. Paul Hogan achieved global fame in middle age. That alone made him different. He became proof that success doesn't always arrive early.
With success came enormous wealth. The film generated huge profits. Sequels followed. Hollywood embraced him. For the first time in his life, Paul Hogan had access to a world most people only imagine. Luxury, celebrity parties, worldwide recognition. But fame has a hidden side. The more famous you become, the less normal your life feels. Suddenly, everyone wants something from you. The media watches every move. Relationships become complicated. Privacy disappears. And slowly, the pressure begins to grow. During this time, Paul Hogan's personal life also changed dramatically. He eventually separated from his first wife. Later, he became involved with Linda Kozlovsky, his co-star from Crocodile Dundee. To the public, they looked perfect together, the adventurous movie star and the woman beside him on screen. It felt like a real-life Hollywood story. But behind fame, relationships are rarely simple. Then came the problems few people expected. Over the years, Paul Hogan became involved in serious tax disputes. Authorities investigated his finances. The headlines became aggressive. For someone once seen as the charming everyman, the situation damaged his image. And perhaps the hardest part wasn't the money. It was watching his name change in the public eye. One day, you're a beloved icon. The next, people begin questioning everything.
There's something unique about becoming famous later in life. You remember who you were before the spotlight. You remember normal life, and that can make fame feel even stranger. Paul Hogan didn't grow up inside Hollywood culture. He entered it as an outsider, and maybe because of that, he never completely belonged there. Over time, he appeared less frequently on screen. The world changed, cinema changed, new stars arrived, but nostalgia remained powerful. As years passed, Paul Hogan became more private. The massive fame faded into memory, but for millions of people, he remained connected to a certain era, an era when movies felt simpler, more fun, more human. And maybe that's why people still remember him fondly, because he represented something audiences miss today: authenticity. Paul Hogan never felt like a perfect celebrity. He felt approachable, like someone who accidentally became famous without losing every part of himself. And audiences connect deeply with that, especially older viewers, because his story carries a message many people understand. It's never too late. Never too late to change your life. Never too late to succeed. Never too late to become something bigger than anyone expected. Paul Hogan's journey wasn't the typical Hollywood story. He didn't rise through elite circles. He didn't come from privilege. He was just an ordinary man who somehow became extraordinary. And maybe that's why people still talk about him today, because deep down, his story feels possible, not like fantasy, but like proof that sometimes life can completely change when you least expect it.